Good morning, students. Today, I will start the second part of the chapter The Growth of Nationalism. Yesterday, I explained you this chapter in short. Today, I am going to start from your book. So, let's start. One of the most distinguishing features of the second half of the 19th century was the birth of national awakening in India. It originated from the concepts of nationalism and right of self determination initiated by the French Revolution. The socio religious reform movements in India, as an offshoot of modernization introduced by the British in India and as a reaction of the Indians to the British colonial policies. The political awareness generated by these trends gave birth to various political associations. This trend culminated in the establishment of the Indian National Congress in 1885, which marked the formal beginning of the organized national movement in India. Now, I'll explain you about the factors promoting growth of nationalism. Nationalism refers to the feeling of oneness and common consciousness that emerge when people living in a common territory share the same historical, political, and the cultural background, have the same language, culture, values, and consider themselves as one nation. Through India had a long history going back to many centuries. It was never a one nation and comprised many kingdoms. There were times when vast portions of the Indian subcontinent came under the rule of one empire. But the loyalty of the people was towards a particular king or kingdom. The modern feeling of nationalism was lacking among them. It emerged during the British rule, mainly as a reaction to the British rule and the class of the British. As we have read in the previous chapter, Indians resisted the British rule from its very beginning. But this resistance was localized and scattered. It was undertaken by the deposed craftsmen, their descendants, and the relations, jamindars, ex-soldiers, and officers of the Indian states. The culmination of traditional opposition to British rule came with the First War of Independence. Although it failed to achieve its objectives, it inspired the Indians to resist the foreign power and make a determined struggle for the country's freedom. Thus, the very nature of the foreign rule resulted in nationalistic sentiments rising among the Indians and produced conditions conducive for the rise and growth of a powerful nation movement. The second half of the 19th century witnessed the emergence of national political consciousness and strong feeling of nationalism. There were many factors which contributed to the growth of nationalism in India. These factors are: first is the economic exploitation. There were many factors that aroused opposition to British rule. Economic exploitation was the most important among them. The Indians realized that the general aim of British policies in India was to promote their own interest at the cost of welfare of Indians. The economic discontent of different sections of society was: first is the peasants. Peasants means farmers. They were the main victims of the British colonial policies. The government took away a large part of their produce in the form of land revenue and other taxes. These exorbitant taxes led the peasants into the clutches of landlords and moneylenders. Second were the artisans and the craftsmen. The British economic policies were against the interest of Indian trade and industry. The English East India Company used its political power to destroy Indian handicrafts and industry. India became a source of raw materials for the industries of Britain and a market for its finished products. This policy crippled the artisans and the craftsmen as they were devoid of their sources of livelihood. Next is the working class. The growth of modern industries led to the birth of a new social class in India, the working class. They were exploited by the factory owners, who were generally Englishmen. Although they formed a small section of the population, they represented a new social outlook. Their outlook and interest were very broad, covering whole of India. Though their factories were located in cities, all these factors made their political thinking far more significant than their numerical strength. Next were the educated Indians. The only employment available to the educated Indians was government service, in which competition was high and chances of promotions were bleak. They had hoped that British capitalism would help to develop India's productive forces as it had done for Britain. Instead, they found that British policies were keeping India economically backward. Thus, all sections of the society felt that their economic salvation lay in freeing themselves from the British rule. To achieve this objective, the Indian people had to come together on a national platform. In the process, the spirit of nationalism received a powerful stimulus. Now the next point, the growth of nationalism, that was the repressive colonial policies. The nature of the British colonial rule over India had the growth of a national sentiment among the Indians. The British had conquered India to promote their own interest and therefore followed such repressive policies so as to make India subservient to the needs of Britain. These policies became the major barrier to the India's economic, social, cultural, intellectual and the political development. Some of these repressive policies, especially those followed by Lord Lytton, Viceroy of India from 1876 to 1880, acted as a catalyst for the growth of nationalist movement in India. Now these included the Lord Lytton organized a Grand Delhi Durbar in 1877 to proclaim Queen Victoria as the Empress of India. Lakh of the rupees were spent on the event, but nothing was done for Indians who were in the grip of a famine. Lord Lytton introduced the Vernacular Press Act in 1878 and Indian Arms Act in 1878. The Vernacular Press Act forbade vernacular paper to publish any material that might excite feelings of dissatisfaction against the British government. This act was not applicable to English newspapers. In 1882, this act was repealed by Lord Ripon. The Indian Arms Act of 1878 made it a criminal offense for Indians to carry arms without license. This act was not applicable to the British. The maximum age limit for the Indian Civil Service examination was reduced from 21 to 19 years, thus making it difficult for the Indians to compete for it. Next, the import duties on the British textiles were removed. It proved harmful for the Indian industry. I think these are clear to all of you, these points. These repressive policies of the British provided a stimulus to political agitation and quickened the pace of Indian nationalism. For today, up to this, tomorrow I will explain you socio-religious reform movement. Thank you. God bless you all.